What's going on, everybody? C4 here, post-Super Bowl, looking like post-Super Bowl. Got the blue blockers on here, the Randy Savage sunglasses show at the Pit Viper. Just because, you know, it's early morning. It's real early. Had a big night last night. Actually, I didn't indulge too much, at least in the alcoholic beverages. There's other things you can do here in Canada that's legal, and you know you pretty much can do it anywhere you want. Pretty ragged when I woke up this morning. But first of all, shout out to the Kansas City Chiefs. Big Red, happy for you. I wasn't borderline tears, but I was really, really in the moment seeing Andy Reid be able to get his first Super Bowl. LaShawn McCoy, you know, I like Patty Mahomes. You got my boy DeMarcus Robinson, Florida Gators. You got Laurent Duvernay-Tardif, one of the best Canadians in the National Football League, maybe the best. Travis Kelce, I don't like him. He's a doucher, but his brother's a man. Like for the defense, I'm a huge Honey Badger fan, one of my favorite players in the NFL. So it's, I'm glad to see Kansas City win. I got a buddy last night, diehard Niner fan. He was crushed, obviously, but the way I think about it, Kansas City Chiefs fans, you came in, like they haven't won it in 50 years. They've only won one, and they had expectations for Patrick Mahomes this year that they can go on and win the Super Bowl. I think if you're a Niner fan, most Niner fans thought, you know, maybe you could contend for the wild card. Maybe you just wanted to see, you know, with Nick Bosa. You had the number 2 pick coming into the year. You were not expected to win the division, let alone be, the number 1 seed in the NFC, let alone to make a Super Bowl run. Now, I would be a little concerned about Kyle Shanahan in the Super Bowl. Seems like, you know, he kind of bottles it every single time. He did it with Atlanta, and now he did it with the 49ers. But I think it was a good year for the Niners. I think they're a young team. I'm not going to say they're going to be back. No one's a for sure thing to get back. It's that much harder every other year. I mean, they're going to lose probably Eric Armstead. That's like 10 sacks on the defensive line, probably a couple other guys in the running back room. But I think you know, it's a good season. It's a good season. But now we are into the second stage, which is mock draft season. And I did promise, well, not promise, but I said we'd have the preseason of the new franchise. Rip City Rejects was the name. That sounds a dope name. Obviously, RBT last year did a Rejects franchise that I don't want to draw similarities to that, but Rip City Rejects is a great name. However, I'm going to pop a little thing up here. You guys told me that the XP slot, it was just, I knew this too. I probably would have realized it way too late. But the XP slotters that we had starting at 0, and we're going to have all those different progression and scoring of earning it all the way up. It's actually the XP affects the entire NFL. So we can't do that. I'm going to have to figure out a way to work around this because I do want some area of difficulty when it comes to progressing players. That's not just within the base Madden mechanic. So I'm going to think about that over tonight, tomorrow. So that's why there's going to be a slight delay on the episode. But as always, obviously this is going to be a mock draft. But let me know if you have any suggestions on how we could do the progression in the new franchise mode. But we're here for the post-Super Bowl mock draft. 3 minutes in. Let's get to it. We're here once again on the draftnetwork.com, the mock draft machine. I'm very, very conflicted to get the premium version that they are now offering where you can do trades and stuff like that. I'm really interested to see how the trade algorithm works, like the computer. How does it value trades? Are they realistic, unrealistic? But either way, let's get into this mock draft. I literally sometimes like to have some notes, some direction that I'm going. I feel like now that's post Super Bowl, it's fresh. Let's just straight up do it. Pick one. Joe Burrow. Don't need to go into breakdown. It's the selection. Unless Joe Burrow comes out that he was, you know, he did some terrible things while celebrating the national championship game. He's on steroids. He's actually 2 small children dressed up into one quarterback. He's going to go first overall to the Cincinnati Bengals, and I think, honestly, makes the Bengals that much more interesting of a team next year. Not only because if they get the Joe Burrow that we saw at LSU this year, they're going to be, they re-sign A.J. Green. They get healthy on that offensive line. You're going to have, you know, Jonah Williams back there, franchise potential left tackle. They could be a very interesting team to be maybe contending in one season, one quick turnaround to being a playoff contender. They don't need nearly as much work as, say, the Arizona Cardinals did when they got Kyler Murray. They still have a whole lot of holes. You look at the Bengals, they're going to get healthier. They could be an interesting team next year. But then you also, the downswing, is Joe Burrow a one-year wonder? And is there going to be a little bit of a learning curve for him when he comes to the NFL? So we're going to pay attention to that. Pick 2, this is going to be a very interesting pick because I don't think there's any way they don't go Chase Young. It's going to be a boring way to start almost every mock draft because I think, you know, easily these are the 2 most gimmies. But it's the Redskins. The Redskins are kind of a weird organization. They did draft well last year. I love the fact that they walked out with Haskins without trading up for him, and they still traded back in and got Montez Sweat. But they're still the Redskins. Still very, very sketchy front office. They might not go Chase Young. And I think that if it becomes more clear that Trent Williams is not returning, I don't know what the outlook is. I mean, you might look at saying that, you know, Chase Young is going to be the successor to Ryan Kerrigan, but they can look at it as we still have Ryan Kerrigan on the roster for another year. He could probably still play at a solid level for another year, but we don't have a tackle. We lost Trent Williams. They could be hard pressed into getting some of these tackles who now MEKHI BECTON from Louisville. I had him as my sleeper. I talked about it a bunch of times. Now he's getting pushed up into that first round, which I'm not surprised, but that's just another name. I don't know how Andrew Thomas is now at the bottom of these 4 tackles here. I think Wirfs is the only one that has a chance to go over. Anyways, the Redskins could go tackle to make things challenging, different in your mock draft. But for today, we're not going to get too crazy. We're just going to have them go with a safe pick in Chase Young. Now, here's where I'm going to get a little crazy. I think Jeff Okudah to the Lions, it makes a lot of sense, right? And I don't want it to be the first 3 picks every single time I do a mock draft until you really maybe the combine, and that's when outlooks can change. I'm going to have them go a little different and go Isaiah Simmons. Because Isaiah Simmons, there's a chance that he busts. There's actually a chance that people see and evaluate Isaiah Simmons as he doesn't have a position. He's played everything. He played defensive end. He's played outside linebacker, inside linebacker, safety, nickel. He's played everything. Some teams are going to say he does not have a position. I'm not burning a premium pick, a top 10 pick on a guy that doesn't have a defined position. There's other people that are going to watch this 6'4", 230-pound linebacker go to the combine, destroy it. Like make what Devin Bush and Devin White did look not that impressive because he is that much freakier of an athlete, and someone's going to fall in love with him. And I think that chess piece, if you're Matt Patricia, you're a guy that got brought in the Detroit Lions to be their head coach because of your defensive mind coming over from New England. If you can get a guy like this that can literally do almost everything that you want on your defense, he can control the entire center of the field, there might be some added value in that. So while I do think Okudah's probably, I'd say, 60% a lock for this pick. If I had to go something different, which I wouldn't be surprised with that combine that's coming up in 3 weeks, Isaiah Simmons to the Lions could be intriguing enough. He could be freaky enough of an athlete. Patricia could have a vision of how he can implement him in his defense enough that the Lions could pick him at pick 3. Now at number 4, we have the New York Giants. Very simple for me. I'm going to go a little different just for name value, but I think they have to go tackle. I think they're going to see someone like Tristan Wirfs. Powerful, very athletic, should test, not Lane Johnson tier, not Terran Armstead, Lane Johnson tier, but pretty damn close. I think that if there is a tackle that can improve their stock to like, because there's a logjam right now between Wirfs, Andrew Thomas, Jedrick Wills from Alabama, Wills from Alabama, and BECTON I still think's on the outside looking in, but still first round caliber. But I think if there's one tackle that can improve their draft stock at the combine and separate themselves a little bit, it would be Wirfs because that's where he's supposed to excel, is at the combine, at the athletic testing drills. So we'll just put him here at New York. Either way, I've on the Giants. This is my board. I mean, what's more valuable? Okay, this is my board. Derek Brown is like the ultimate Gettleman pick. But if, with your new coach and stuff like that, do you want a corner? It's either going to be Okudah or Wirfs. Do you want a lockdown corner, which they definitely still need, or do you want to get that franchise tackle? You have your quarterback. I would say build from the offensive line out. And we'll land Wirfs here. Even though, you go on positional value, the tackle that if you get Okudah here at 4, the tackle you could get in the second round, if those are your priorities, is probably going to be better than if you go Wirfs here and try to get a corner in the second round. But you know what? We'll go Wirfs here for sure. Going to pick number 5, we have the Miami Dolphins. Tua is their guy. I feel like if he gets the clean bill of health, 100% is their guy. We have the Chargers, who are definitely going to be in the market for a quarterback. They could look to free agency. I'm going to have them go Justin Herbert. I think Herbert had a solid to good Senior Bowl. I think he's going to have a pretty solid looking combine. I think he's actually going to test and show his athleticism off a little bit to solidify that he's going to go in the first round. And I think if I'm the Chargers, that's a good place for him to go. If they can get Justin Herbert and then commit to building up the offensive line, they have the skill position players in set. They're going to be able to probably re-sign at least one of the running backs. Eckler or Melvin Gordon's going to be on that roster. I think actually Eckler might be more beneficial to a guy like Herbert, having that safety option always out of the backfield. But we'll have to go quarterback here in Justin Herbert. Next up, we have the Luke Kuechly-less Carolina Panthers, who might be a little upset to see Isaiah Simmons off the board. But if I'm the Carolina Panthers for this scenario, I am going to select Jeffrey Okudah. Now, they have a terrible run defense, but run stuffing D tackles going in the top 10. It's It's not going to happen, especially with Okudah on the board, the #1 corner. Their secondary is not particularly good. You're going to lose probably Bradbury in free agency. Dante Jackson regressed a little bit. So I think a guy like Okudah and Dante Jackson going forward, trying to build around that in the secondary, that's going to be the best pick here for the Carolina Panthers. And I think Matt Rule will make that decision. Pick 8, we have the Arizona Cardinals. I think Cardinals, out of literally all the first top 10 picks, after really the Redskins, I think the Cardinals are going to be in the best spot because they 100% have to get a tackle, and there's 100% going to be a couple options for them. So we're going to have them go actually, why is Andrew Thomas still there? But we're going to have them get, they're laughing. They're getting probably, this is like the whatever this website is, these picks are like based upon how all the mock drafts go across the site. How Andrew Thomas is slipping to this fire, I don't know, but Cardinals are laughing. They get the best tackle in the draft class. I still think, even though it's really, really close, it's a great group of tackles, especially at the top end. Pick 9, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars, who I am going to actually have them select. This could be a surprise. I'm going to have them select Derek Brown. Here's why. They got to make some cuts. There's no way Marcel Dareus is coming back, right? He's going to be gone. You look at Taven Bryan, not developing inside on the defensive line. So why not get, this is good value, a good spot for Derek Brown to go. You have another first-round pick that you can literally get your pick of the cream of the crop. There's no linebackers here, right? Hopefully Telvin Smith comes back. So now your needs really are D-line, getting a D-tackle, getting a corner, and getting a wide receiver. There's still going to be a corner. There's still going to be a wide receiver at pick 20. But sitting here at pick 8, you can get easily the best defensive lineman in this year's draft class without a shadow of a doubt. I think it's the pick because I think there's going to be a lot of shuffling on that defensive line, especially trying to trim up some salary cap space. Pick number 10, we have the Cleveland Browns. This is almost getting automatic at this point, but it's what they have to do. They got to get tackled. They had like the worst 2 starting tackles, I think, in the National Football League. Shore up that offensive line. Help out Baker Mayfield going into year number 3. Pick 11, the New York Jets. We have their needs here as edge, tackle, interior offensive line. Looking at edge, there's some good fits here. Some really, really good fits. I think Epineza could actually be really solid. He is a 3-4 defensive end. I think he played both, but 6'6", 280. That's really what you're looking for. However, this is something that I'm almost quite adamant about. They have no wide receivers. Robbie Anderson is almost for sure going to go to free agency. So I think they take their pick at top wide receiver available. You have to get that big-time weapon for Sam Darnold. And I think that there's a bunch of options there. Like I said, they could go edge. They could go 3-4 outside linebacker and Caleb Von-Chesson. They could go offensive tackle and BECTON. But I think getting a wide receiver should be top priority here for the Jets. Wide receiver for the Raiders at 12. That is totally in play here with CeeDee Lamb. They look at linebackers. Very weak linebacking class right now. I even think Queen and Murray here are the top 2 options. I think those guys are very fringe first-round players, if that. Looking at the secondary, a little bit better. Christian Fulton is there. But at wide receiver, for me, I think it makes too much sense. They got to go CeeDee Lamb. Get your big-time player. Very much good value, I think, at 12. I think if there's a different draft class, CeeDee Lamb, top 10 kind of talent guy. Pick 13, we have the Colts. And here's where I kind of like the fit. I think Jordan Love is a good fit. I don't think Colts organization, I don't think Colts fans are sold on Jacoby Brissett. I think that Jordan Love has some Carson Wentz tendencies that Frank Reich will fall in love with. And if there's one guy that you had to grow and develop a quarterback that gives Carson Wentz vibes, if it's not Doug Peterson, I think Frank Reich is as good of a guy as you can get. Get yourself some Jordan Love. Even though I wasn't overly impressed with his Senior Bowl. It was not particularly great. Go to pick number 14, so we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We're going to go with the assumption that they are going to re-sign Jameis Winston. And if you re-sign Jameis Winston, the easiest way to help them is get him a tackle. Their tackle situation is not great. They've, Donovan Smith at left tackle, not good at all. You have DeMar Dotson, who's solid, but he's like 30-something. He's you gotta go franchise tackle. I think BECTON, gigantic human being, 6'7", 370. But he's fast. Yeah, quick feet. Reminds his feet and footwork. For me, that doesn't know a whole lot about scouting and evaluating linemen, just looking at his get-off reminds me a lot of Cody Ford last year. And Cody Ford went, second round to the Buffalo Bills, but he was more of a guard. I think getting a tackle, getting someone that can protect James Winston's blind side could help with the interceptions. Less pressure, less panic throws. So I think when you're the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, you might be pressed to go defense because their defense has let them down time and time again. You still got Christian Fulton, the top corner on the board. A couple edges that could come in and help, especially because they're in that new 3-4. However, franchise tackle, potential franchise tackle, got to be the pick for me here at 14. Pick 15, we have the Denver Broncos, which I definitely think they're going to be in the market for a wide receiver. So we'll have them. This pains me as an Eagle fan because a lot of mock drafts have the Eagles going wide receiver. But I think I'd be very surprised if Henry Ruggs, still on the board, probably going to run a 4.2 at the combine, is going to slip past the Denver Broncos. And if I'm an Eagle fan, with Denver at 15, Raiders at 19, Jags at 20, I'm not going to say it's a pipe dream that the Eagles can get Henry Ruggs. It's going to be just pretty tough for that to actually happen. But if you're looking at the Denver Broncos, you got your big arm quarterback in Drew Lock. You got your tall jump ball type wide receiver in Cortland Sutton. You got hopefully your slot inside across the middle of the field with some deep threat ability, tight end and Noah Fant. Get the burner. Get the burner to add to that offense. Pick 16, we have the Atlanta Falcons. Edge, corner are their top needs. Looking at it right now, I'm going to say Ebenezer is the pick. It just makes sense. They're getting a true defensive edge that can set the end, and it makes sense for a Dan Quinn defense. Pick 7, and that's actually really good value at pick 16, to be completely honest with you. Pick 17, we have the Dallas Cowboys, corner, safety, interior defensive line. So I don't know. They could actually be in play for wide receiver, especially if they lose and when they lose Amari Cooper. But definitely that back end needs to get shored up. They're going to lose Byron Jones to free agency. So we'll just have them get Christian Fulton, corner here from LSU, best corner on the board. Again, another pick, much like Henry Ruggs, that Eagle fans will groan at because it's a big-time name that they want. But if you're Dallas and you're making smart decisions, and usually I am annoyed with how well Dallas drafts, at least for players that I rate and regard high value. I think Fulton's going to be there. And Fulton, coming off not a great national championship game by any means, but I think it's a good fit here for the Dallas Cowboys. Pick 18, we have the Miami Dolphins back up on the board. Actually, you're looking here, so we got your quarterback. They could go running back. You look at tackle, Josh Jones. I mean, they could use some interior offensive line. Bidash is plummeting here, even though I do think he's not really a first rounder at this point, second rounder. But looking at how things play out, if I am... I think we will get them... See, because Chase Law is... We'll get Chase Law. He's a guy. He's versatile. He's not that much. Even though he played 3-4, he's not that much of a reach to have him play a 4-3 defensive end. There you go. Get your edge rusher. Even then, I mean, what? It's a hybrid defense, right? For the Dolphins, 3-4, 4-3. Probably more inclined to get 3-4 rushers than 4-3 rushers. So there you go. Just makes a lot of sense there. To the Dolphins, pick 19, the Oakland Raiders. Setting on the board, they already got CeeDee Lamb. Now looking at linebacker, corner, quarterback, potentially. I think they'll go corner, and we will grab them. Who are they going to get? Top corner on the board is C.J. Henderson. I think, however, they'll go Trayvon Diggs. A little bit better athlete. I think he'll test better at the combine. Alabama pedigree. Seems like that's the kind of guy Gruden would select. Pick 20. We have the Jacksonville Jaguars. I already got Derek Brown. Now they need to get a game changer. I think T. Higgins is the fit for the Jags. Nick Foles or not, they need that big possession guy. Makes a whole lot of sense there for them. Coming up now, pick 21 for the Philadelphia Eagles. Oh boy, always the hardest pick with the Eagles. As the board sets up, I'm not particularly happy with it. So I'm going to have to do some assumptions. Kinlaw would actually be a really nice selection, but we don't need another defensive tackle. We have Malik Jackson and Fletcher Cox under contract. Now, Jackson could be, this could be a future-setting move, but if you're the Eagles, you need to draft for the now. And when I'm looking at the Philadelphia Eagles, we have 2 free agent safeties. I'm going to make this mock draft, because I'm sure we'll have other mock drafts, based upon the fact that we might not get one of them back. So I'm going to have them go draft Grant Delpit. He's best player available on the board. I'm going to make the assumption that Delpit can play free or strong. So if we bring back Roddy McLeod, he can take over for Malcolm Jenkins. If we can bring back Malcolm Jenkins, we let Roddy McLeod walk. There you go. Either way, plug and play for one of the 2 safeties. And I'm just going to say it's unlikely Philly brings back both of their starting safeties from a year ago. Pick 22, we have the Buffalo Bills. And I've been thinking about this one. I think it also makes a lot of sense. It's a good fit. Because you got Shenault. Now you're talking about a bunch of fringe first-round edge rushers. But Shenault is, as much as I'm kind of skeptical, a first-round prospect and offers the size that the Buffalo Bills don't have whatsoever at the wide receiver position. He's a good complement to the deep threat they have in John Brown. He's a good complement to the slot threat that they have with Dawson Knox and Cole Beasley. So, and he's a mismatch. He's a little bit of a, you know, you look at the Buffalo Bills with Josh Allen under center, they're kind of awkward. You know, it's not traditional by any sense of the word, so why not get another guy that just kind of gives DCs a lot more to think about. Pick 23, the New England Patriots. So they're looking at tight end here. Cole Kmet is getting some first-round buzz at tight end, but I do feel like it's a stretch to project a tight end right now to go in the first round. I think you're looking at wide receiver. KJ Hamler could be a nice pick. I think if you're the Patriots, you're kind of evaluating as what is the most explosive player we can get to our offense that was lacking explosive plays. Hamler and Rager, Ayuk potentially out of Arizona State could be the selection. Even though I don't think New England's going to go back-to-back Arizona State wide receivers in the first round. So what do we got here at edge? I mean, Terrell Lewis helped himself out the way in. Oh. I still like my boy Gross Matos. That's who I'm going to have to go. They'll go, but their this is the hardest thing. When you trust these websites, sure, but their defense was like one of the best defenses in the National Football League. Their offense is what was the biggest issue. Screw this. I'm thinking outside the box. They're going KJ Hamler. They need explosive plays more than they need defense. Okay? Get a guy that can take the crappy Tom Brady 5-yard passes and take it to the house. That's KJ Hamler. They don't have that on the team right now. You know? And who's the other guy? The speedster that they got from the Colts. Dorsett, he's going to go free agency. So, there you go. Outside the box pick here for the New England Patriots. Next up, we have the New Orleans Saints at pick 24. We're waiting to hear about what's going on with Mr. Drew Brees. However, I am actually going to have them shock the world. And I'm going to have them select Jake Fromm. I have a feeling. I don't know why. I don't rate Jake Fromm that much as a prospect. I think he was my number 5 quarterback. I think he's going to go in the first round. Someone's going to say, that guy there has the safeness that I'm looking for a rookie quarterback. He's not going to make those mistakes, and I can grow and develop him. So I think Jake Fromm, I will not be shocked if Jake Fromm goes in the first round, and a team like New Orleans makes a lot of sense. Pick 25, Minnesota Vikings. Got to go corner. You think they got to go corner. They could go interior offensive line for sure, but for my money, I do like Jeff. I'll have him go Jeff Gladney for until I see a disappointing combine, which I'm not expecting. I think Jeff Gladney, when I'm looking at these corners, maybe Darnay Holmes. He should run really, really fast. Had a good Senior Bowl. Those could be 2 corners that take big jumps up in these rankings. But I think Gladney is a dog right now. And when you look at that Minnesota Vikings defense, that back end definitely has to get shorn up. Pick 26, the Miami Dolphins. Okay, they actually have another team that could go corner potentially. But for me, I think it's about time we get a running back off the board. And I think DeAndre Swift is the best running back in this year's draft. For what you want them to do, he can do everything and catch with the backfield. He's the kind of guy that you can rely on for 20 touches a game minimum. Think very similar to like Miles Sanders for the Philadelphia Eagles as a rookie. What a guy like DeAndre Swift can do to a team that, it's not that maybe potentially underrated wide receiver. Preston Williams, you got Parker, maybe turn a new leaf, getting ready to hit the prime of his career. Get a nice little running back weapon back there. Pick 27, Seattle Seahawks. What do we need here? Let's go to all. Who's still left? Anyone slipping? Edge, wide receiver, interior offensive line, tackle, interior defensive line. Again, they need edge rush help, so we'll give them Gross Matos, best edge rusher on the board, high upside. Not a great 2018 was way better. Not a great 2019, but his 2018 was outstanding for Penn State. There's a lot you can definitely rely upon there. Going to the Baltimore Ravens, I actually think that if I'm the Ravens right now, Kinlaw offers the most. I think Kinlaw in that front 3, he could be a defensive end. He's going to wreak havoc. Excellent compliment to what they already have there in Michael Pierce and Brandon Williams. Pick number 29, the Tennessee Titans. They're looking for edge interior offensive line. Looking at edge, Terrell Lewis. I mean, they do like Alabama players. That is for sure. However, boom, you get your Derrick Henry replacement. Derrick Henry, almost for certain, looks like he's going to walk. Even though I think Titans could potentially pay, this is a mock draft that for the Eagles, I'm assuming that they're going to be a hole at safety. And we'll just argue that the Titans lose Derrick Henry. Boom, you get maybe the most perfect plug-and-play running back from this year's draft that can help them out in Jonathan Taylor. Now this pick, 100%, they get Derrick Henry re-signed. Looking at where the draft could go, they could go C.J. Henderson. They could go I'd probably make the Terrell Lewis selection, 6'5", 260, outside defensive end, or outside linebacker, sorry, that 3-4. But this selection is made on the assumption that they lost Derrick Henry. Green Bay Packers need a wide receiver. They need more of a slot. And when you're looking at, I think Ayuk, we'll make Ayuk the selection. Fast burner, really, really fast. NFL comp here is Cordero Patterson. I actually don't really see that. Patterson's like 6'3", 220. Either way, they get the speedster that can play in the slot. I think they need to add a lot more speed. Proven receiver. I mean, Justin Jefferson is there if you want someone that's a little bit more reliable. But I think when you look at Ayuk, you get a guy that's not just pure speed like Valdez-Scantling. He's also a guy that has some really good hands, really good tape at Arizona State. And I think he gives you guys some slot ability. Pick 31. The 49ers absolutely have to get better in that secondary. I'm going to say we're going to have them get Xavier McKinney, the safety from Alabama. Winfield could make some sense more as a free. I think McKinney with Tart is solid. There's no corners right now that I would take over McKinney if you're just straight up looking what player adds the most value to our secondary. As a Gator fan, not 100% sold on CJ Henderson yet. However, now that we're kind of lining things up here for the Kansas City Chiefs, I think when you're the Kansas City Chiefs, I mean, you still got Bidash available here. I think he's not nearly as bad as this mock draft has him. But I think if you're the Kansas City Chiefs, you want to continue to shore up that defense. Sure, man. CJ Henderson, at this point in time, not terrible pick. Even though if I'm looking at these names, if I had to say a guy that could rise, it would be Darnay Holmes. But they already kind of have that. Darnay Holmes, very similar size to Kendall Fuller, Breland. So we'll have him finish on the draft here, getting CJ Henderson, Chauncey Johnson. It's not it at all. But there you go. There's my mock draft, fellas. Post-Super Bowl mock draft, 26 minutes in the book. Now I'm going to have, I had this plan. I was going to come up Friday, but we had to push things up ahead because I got to try to figure out the Rip City rejects and how I'm going to do the XP. But there we go. Post-Super Bowl mock. What do we got? Any surprising picks? I guess Isaiah Simmons. Things got a little weird potentially. Pick 3, Isaiah Simmons. You could argue Derek Brown, maybe to the Jags. Could have been an interesting selection. Jordan Love, MEKHI BECTON. Obviously Delp with the Eagles. We had a reasoning for that. Hamler could be surprised. Fromm could be a surprise. Ayuk to the Packers. You're either gonna be someone, if you're a Green Bay Packer fan, that says, yes, I want that speed. And understand Ayuk's a different player than Valdez-Scantling because he brings obviously 4.3 speed as well. Or you're going to hate this pick and would have wanted like Justin Jefferson still on the board. But I think Jefferson, more of a possession receiver than someone that's, that utilizes a slot. But there you go, guys. That is my mock draft. Thank you for watching. Let me know in the comment section about my mock draft 3.0 post-Super Bowl. Let me know if you agree or disagree. Let me know if you're a fan of any of these teams. Let me know about the pick. Do you like the pick? Maybe pause the video and who you might have drafted differently that was available on the board. Let me know about that. And until next time, it's C4 saying peace out.